Okay, so picks and bans are just finishing up here. On the blue team, they have banned out Dr. Mundo, Nasus, and Riven. On purple team, they have banned out Shyvana, Kassadin, and Yasuo. Yasuo is seeing a lot of bans now, and well, his kit is very highly overloaded, and in the right hands, he does phenomenal things. He's very team reliant, and I don't see him working that well in solo queue, especially lower ratings. So I'm not sure if it's a target ban or what, but Yasuo just seems like a strange ban to me to do in lower elos.
Yeah, he's the high skill cap makes him kind of manageable, I find, at certain levels of play.
And his laning phase is so abysmally weak. Like, his level 1 through 5 or whatever, you're just like, oh, you want to fight me? Here, have some attacks to the face. Your shield's gone? Okay, I'm gonna burst you now. It's sort of like fighting a Riven, though, where if you don't play it properly, has a surprising amount of burst and will snowball heavily. But it's like Riven before the itemization and meta made her so broken.
Hmm.
As far as picks, then, blue team has picked up a Kha'Zix, which should be a Kha'Zix mid from what I see here. A Jinx Nami. We see a lot of Nami played in this workshop, and I love seeing her. I'm pretty sure Coffee Dave has played Nami every workshop he's been in, or every workshop that he's been picked for support. So it's sort of a comfort champion to him. So we're interested to see how that goes. We then have a Lee Sin, which I'm assuming is a Lee Sin top. Yes, according to rolls, it is a Lee Sin top. And then an Amumu jungle. Amumu is very, very powerful in solo queue. He goes in phases of popularity. He's never weak. It's just there's sometimes someone who outshines him, so he stops being picked. And then that champion gets nerfed and Amumu right back to the top tier. On the split side, we then have an Elise, which... Wait a second. Okay, apparently that's an Elise mid.
Okay.
I haven't seen that in a while. So we have an AP Elise mid, a Nidalee top, which I'm not sure why they didn't ban Nidawee's Nidalee. He plays Nidalee every game. They then have a Lulu support, a Sejuani jungle, and a Graves AD carry. I like the AoE between Sejuani, Graves, and Lulu. And if they play properly with Elise, Elise will be able to peel relatively well. But AP Elise is just so underwhelming. Her burst isn't anything that fantastic, and she's so squishy if you don't build her tank.
I did some math recently because I actually got into an argument with another Dominion guy over this. He's really annoying because he does math all the time. He's like, oh, I know everything because I just do math and stuff. And
As if nerds
I
could be more
remember,
annoying.
yeah, like he's really annoying. But one time I argued that like Elise, you shouldn't really build death cap on her because like her AP ratios aren't high. And he's
Yeah.
like, what? Her AP scaling's amazing. So I was like, screw you. I'm gonna do some math now to prove you wrong. And basically, the AP ratio on both of your Qs is against a 2,000 health target, 0.6 per spell. So Neurotoxin 0.6 and Venomous Bite 0.6.
Okay, so her
However,
burst is like 1.2 then. Scaling.
however, the one caveat with that though is that her AP ratio actually goes down depending on the health of the enemy target. So her
Right.
Neurotoxin is probably going to be at 0.6 all the time, but her Venomous Bite, the target will probably be at 50% health, so it's actually going to have a 0.3 AP ratio.
Which is pretty
Um,
terrible.
I know, so there's that, then I think she has like a 0.6 ratio or something on her spider, uh, the thing that explodes.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
lovely skill, but it's not reliable.
no, and the cooldown's really high, and then after that she has the on hit from her attack speed boost. So her
Yeah.
AP scaling is actually pretty bad, all things considered.
Yeah, I just don't understand why anyone would go full AP. Again, it's possible or not. I just noticed a bunch of people talking about AP mid Elise, like full AP mid Elise in the chat today. And now, sure enough, the person we picked for mid is playing mid Elise. So that's why I'm thinking that's what they're doing. But this is why we're thinking it's bad.
Mhm.
So the game has started. You should be able to spectate, not spectot, off of
Yay.
the friends list now. I do love
Alrighty.
spectotting.
It's a good time, you know? But yeah, for more like information about that with the math, if Elise is targeting a 1,000 point target, then the AP ratios go down to 0.3. 3,000 health target, it goes up to 0.9. It's like there's a lot of variability there, but I show as like 2,000 health because the target she wants to focus are going to have that kind of health.
Yeah. I don't know. I just I like Elise as a champion. I don't play her, but I like her kit. It's very, very powerful. It just seems like kind of a waste when you could be building like the old Liandry's Rylai's, where it's like I'm going to be pretty tanky, but I'm still going to have a decent amount of AP and shred.
Yeah.
Who was it that I was looking at? There was a champion I was looking at the other day, and I was just like, holy crap, I didn't realize they had these kind of ratios. And I can't think of who it was. Hmm. I don't play any mid champions, so I seriously, I don't play any champions. Every time I like jump on a Smurf encounter, I'm just like I'm gonna try something different. I'm like, wait a second, I have no clue how any of these champions work. All I really play now is like Victor, a little bit of Teemo, and like Karma. It's terrible. All my other champions have fallen at the wayside and are useless. Oh, and I have started playing LeBlanc thanks to you.
Oh, LeBlanc.
She's so broken.
I know. I love her though. She's actually so much fun.
Yeah, and people are finally realizing that you just max W and you're an unstoppable beast.
I was wondering because yeah, I realized that like her W gives her the wave clear that everyone thought that she lacked, and it made her like extremely viable.
Oh yeah, and that's why she's being played and like picked banned every single tournament now. Where people finally realize that your Q only does damage if you can detonate it. You're detonating it with your W. Your W is your goddamn wave clear. Just max W. It's like, oh, I see now. JWF again is asking if Urgot is good for bot lane Dominion.
Urgot's probably one of the single best bot laners for Dominion right now. I think the only counter that I know of for him is like Syndra. But yeah, he's amazing, and if you can pick him up and get him down, then you'll be unstoppable, and you'll easily get to high elo.
Apparently they need to pause. Unfortunately, I can't pause. They have to do it from in-game. That's up to them, though. Like, I'm just spectating. I can't do shit. Yeah, so Kha'Zix versus Nidalee. We didn't really talk about the lane matchups too much. Kha'Zix... Wait. I'm wrong. It's Kha'Zix versus Elise, right. This is going to throw me off all game. If Kha'Zix hits level 2 first, or level 3 first, if he pushes that engage, I'd expect him to just kind of shred down Elise. That being said, Elise was always known to be an incredibly powerful lane bully. So a lot of that's going to boil down to how well Elise manages her mana, and how well she manages her positioning, and most importantly, how well she manages her level breakpoints. Level breakpoints are absolutely crucial in Summoner's Rift. I don't know how strong they are in Dominion, because everyone's kind of the same level. But if you are bot lane, or any lane really, if you hit level 2 first, I believe it's somewhere in the range of 450 to 500 gold in bonus stats, as well as an extra skill. So if you engage right at level 2, and they're not level 2, you automatically win that fight. And you can then zone them from experience, so you're always going to hit the next level first. So you engage at level 2, you engage at level 3, you engage at level 4, etc., etc., etc. And you continue to push that advantage. And there was a diamond level support who made the comment that if you hit level 2 first as bot lane, you have won the lane until level 6. It's that important.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Again, you have to play it properly, but the level breakpoints are just so powerful. And that's why Doran's Shield is becoming very, very popular, as is running, like, Lulu. If you look at any of the pro builds, they run attack speed reds, full AP blues, and I believe it's AP quints as well, where they're just like, I just need to shove the wave, so we hit level 2. Interesting. So Lee Sin actually started Q. That's sort of normal. Honestly, though, it's been so long since I've played as or against a top lane Lee Sin, and he's such a versatile champion. I'm pretty sure you could start any skill in the game and still be viable.
Yeah, that's Lee Sin free.
So Kha'Zix does hit level 2 first. He doesn't actually get any real damage onto Elise, though. Elise does use 1 potion, though. So they've evened out the potion advantage, and it's now sort of his lane to lose. He does take a turret shot, so that evened
See
it
a bit of
out.
an engagement here between Jinx, Lulu, and all of them. Jinx managed to hit level 2 before the other laners did, however Graves and Lulu hit level 2 at the same time. Jinx extending a little bit too far and manages to give up first blood to Graves. So what happened there was Nami was actually level 1 when Graves chose to engage on them, and it looked kind of one-sided. He got really low, and Nami was still level 1. But then he managed to turn the fight around, Jinx overcommitted, and he managed to pick up first blood.
Elise managed to land a really good cocoon mid and gets about half of Kha'Zix's health, and Kha'Zix has no potions left. So as Elise, I'd be trying to zone him now. I'd be standing essentially past minions and trying to freeze the wave and essentially bully him out of lane. That being said, though, minions are pushing towards Kha'Zix, so if Kha'Zix plays passively and just last hits, he should be able to freeze it at his turret and gain an advantage back towards himself. Amumu trying to sneak in top lane now.
I don't think this is a wise gank choice though, because Nidalee
No.
right now is already shoved all the way up to her turret. Amumu has blue, he needs that blue to go through the jungle. And Sejuani is hanging around, they don't know where she is, and she could easily counter gank that if they try to dive her.
Agreed, and Amumu, well, his early ganks, they're fine. His level 6 spike is so powerful that unless there's essentially a completely free gank for you, just farm. Pretend you're Nasus and just farm.
Yeah.
So Lee Sin flashes over the turret right into an angry boar. So first blood, or not first blood, second blood goes over to Sejuani. Really good timing, just realizing, hey, they're all the way up at the tower, I should probably show up. And that's what you need to do as a jungler, just show up where you're needed, as you're needed, with correct timing.
Elise looks like she's doing a really good job right now of harassing Kha'Zix. We see Amumu, he shows up mid lane, he knows he has to help her out. Because his other two lanes right now are winning, he doesn't need to help her. No, opposite. Everyone's losing, poor Amumu. I'm tired.
I'm very interested to see what this Kha'Zix evolves. You always evolve his Q, but Fate has been going on and on in stream about how spiky Kha'Zix is sort of a thing again, and he's correct. Sorry, she is correct to a point that spiky Kha'Zix can still work, but it's just kind of it defeats the reason of picking Kha'Zix as an assassin, and Kha'Zix is one of the best assassins in the game right now. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what they do.
Top lane, we see Amumu, he lands his Banish Touch on Nidalee. The Ignite goes down, she gets really low, but Sejuani comes in, she charges and she manages to split them off and peel for Nidalee.
Amumu tanking all these minions.
Low, but he's not going to go back in. And Amumu has to be really careful, he's taking a lot of damage from those minions.
I have a concern there. Lee Sin turned around and queued a minion and then decided to go fight. I don't know what he was thinking there. He wastes his important Q while Amumu goes into fight. He then decides to follow up the fight, but he's already wasted a lot of his damage and his chasing potential.
So I don't really play Jinx, but if I'm not mistaken, you're supposed to level up her Q first, right?
You can do pretty much anything you want. Jinx is pretty versatile. What we're seeing a lot of Jinxes do is they take 1 point in Q at level 1 because it allows them to push very quickly with the attack speed boost, as well as to farm safely with the rockets if they are zoned. They then take traps at level 2 and W at level 3 or 4, depending on how aggressively they want to play. The reason for that is because they want the level 2 engage CC. So they drop it behind when like a Leona or someone goes in, or a Nami lands a bubble. That being said, you can max Q first for the free attack speed steroid and the range steroid, so it's very, very powerful. You can max W if you need to poke, but it costs so much mana that's not usually worthwhile. So, long story short, yes, you max Q. Mumu just randomly...
Mumu and Sejuani, they're having a bit of a disagreement here. I think Mumu managed to get the raids.
No,
but
he didn't get
Kha'Zix
any of
did
them.
Not. Oh no, poor Mumu.
He smited right at the very, very start. He walked up to them while Sejuani was in sight, smited the big wraith, and then just sort of stood there. It's like, well, now Sejuani just jumps in and picks up all 4. So that, I don't know, as a Mumu, I would have saved my smite.
Looks like we have a bit of a lane swap right now between Kha'Zix and Lee Sin. They feel like, I think Kha'Zix was getting harassed a little bit too hard by Elise. And Lee Sin, he's already got 3 deaths too, so they probably just wanted to swap lanes and see if they could do a different matchup.
Oh my goodness, I didn't realize that Lee Sin was at 3 deaths. Oh, I feel bad for him now. He has most of that just boils down to Sejuani's perfect timing on a lot of these counter ganks.
Yeah, she's doing really good. Bot lane Nami, she's been a little bit off point with her bubbles. If she could land them, they could probably turn this lane round into their favor despite the gold advantage right now for Graves.
They went in a little too early there. Nami bubble was still about 3-second cooldown. So they went in, they landed their slows. It would have set up a really easy bubble, but again, it's just not up yet.
Jinx getting a little bit too close. No, doesn't have a bubble.
Amumu circling in mid. Elise goes in, is able to pick up Lee Sin with the quick ignite. Elise flashes away a little early. She does repel to avoid the actual Amumu grab though, so great job in avoiding that, but that flash was not needed.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Amumu wouldn't be able to 1v1 her even with his ultimate.
Mhm.
And she's really strong right now. She has 2 kills, she's got 2 amplifying drums and a door and blade. Like if Amumu tried to banish toss her, like she could just repel as we saw her do, because Lee Sin wasn't gonna rejoin that fight.
Exactly. Nidalee bush camping here, waiting for Kha'Zix to waste a skill on minions, and then, oh, there we go. Spear misses, so she's not really able to turn it into anything.
Ooh.
Kha'Zix should be able to get this, honestly.
Yeah. There we go.
He kind of stutter-stepped, missed his auto attack. It didn't end up harming him, but I would work on your attack resets a little bit if you're going to play more Kha'Zix. It could have been secured a little bit more cleanly.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. Like he has Kha'Zix versus Nidalee, so he should have gotten that kill anyways. But yeah, against like a better opponent, they would have.
Sejuani looping around behind. Her ult is not up for another 25 seconds. That being said, she is going to get a lot of damage onto Kha'Zix. That being said, she's not standing in minions, so all of that bonus damage is really going to come back and harm her.
Ooh.
Doesn't have enough
Kha'Zix
manage to finish it off.
doing so much damage.
Yeah, because isolation does so much damage, and Sejuani decided to fight in a bush rather than sitting in minions.
Well, Lane, it looks like Amumu tried to go in and gank for Jinx and Nami, but he wasn't quite able to make the kill happen. Graves and Nami both level 6, and Graves and Lulu level 6 rather, and Nami and Jinx weren't quite there yet, so they weren't able to fight as well, and it kind of turned around on them, and they got 2 kills.
So, someone in chat was mentioning that Elise is actually maxing W first. That seems odd. My only thought would be that she wants to be able to push the wave, but she should be maxing Q because it's both your harass and your execute. So it's your reliable damage, and it's what has the best scaling by a significant margin. You can do all the math you want, but like your Q is what's doing reliable damage, so its scaling means more. So personally, I would be maxing the Q.
What I find strange though is that her W, if she's maxing that would mean to me she wants to clear waves, but her CS right now is actually surprisingly low.
Yeah,
Like,
she's only at
fallen
33
behind-
CS.
She's fallen behind both Kha'Zix and Lee Sin, which is like shocking to me.
Yeah. Oh,
You see the ultimate coming down from Sejuani, tries to get him, but Lee Sin flashes away, and they aren't able to follow up on it.
that Lee Sin flash wasn't needed because at that point they knew that the cocoon was down on Elise. They knew that Sejuani ult was down. So what's going to hold him in place long enough for them to essentially 100 to 0 him because he was still essentially full health?
Yeah, he was fine. He also had his kick still.
So Sejuani tries to come bot, and instead of going straight into the gank, tries to go back into a bush. And that's a mistake I'm seeing a lot of junglers make these days, where they delay their engages. Kha'Zix going in top lane, trying to dive this Nidalee. He is going to get her, not going to go down to tower either, and Sejuani is
No
still
time for the
bot.
trap. Okay, he's good. So Kha'Zix right now, he's doing a lot of work. He's doing, like, literally, she has the Seeker's arm guard, but even then, he's able to take her down. Following, we see an engagement coming down between Sejuani and Graves. They managed to pick up the kill on Nami. Jinx right now, she's kind of on her own. But Sejuani isn't coming down for the turret dive. She's instead going to go to mid lane to pay a visit to Lee Sin. This has been,
Jinx
like,
is having a lot of
surprising.
issues last hitting under turret here. She needs to work on that. And now she's playing aggressively instead of just picking up the safe farm that she can. She's going to get taken really low, and at this point, she can't stay in lane. She has to go back. Even though Nami is coming back now, I don't think Nami's going to be able to heal her up to a state where it's viable for her to stay in lane. Graves does have ult as well, so if Graves lands an auto attack QR, he could kill her.
See the bubble land, but I don't think they're really able to follow it up right now. That was a very smart move with the traps. I don't know what that Nami ult was for. But the trap. So what happened was Graves had to dash away from there because had he stayed in the traps, he would have taken a lot of turret shots. Um, One of my favorite things to do whenever someone's like push me to my turret is I let them get that cheeky little harass on me that they think they can get away with, and then immediately drop a CC as soon as I think they're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gives me a few free turret shots onto them. It evens up the lane.
Oh, turret shots are amazing. I love making people dive me as Victor. Because it's just like, oh, you want to dive me? Okay, drop my W, flash out, E towards them, and laugh at them as they die. I actually got double first blood like that once. They tried to turret dive me as their with their jungler at like level 3 or 4 or something like that. So I leveled up my W, dropped it, E towards them, and flashed out. And I managed to get both of them somehow thanks to the turret. JWF is asking if your team has a YouTube channel or not, Steven.
No. It's just the first team that I was on was called Safonda Cox or Safonda Spiritivus.
Sejuani is in behind Kha'Zix's top lane. That being said, I don't know, Elise is getting him harassed down a little bit. Yeah, that's dangerous. Sejuani's going to live, barely. Wow. Good job by Elise getting that. They just didn't have very good communication between the two of them. If Elise went in right as Sejuani did and they overlapped their CC and their damaging abilities, they should have been able to take down Kha'Zix without risk. That Ignite is amazing that it didn't kill Sejuani. It was so, so close.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this is the last workshop game of the day, Hell. After this, we're probably going to take a break because it's been a very frustrating day of server issues. We're probably going to just like host a Minecraft server or something stupid.
Yeah, I remember I was playing ranked last night, and like, I remember one of the other champions on the enemy team was just invisible to everyone,
That is
and it was their
amazing.
jungler, of course. So it was like the worst thing ever, because randomly, like the enemy team would be going aggressive on you, and you wouldn't know why, and then your health would just start dropping out of nowhere. It's like, ah, crap.
Alright, so Elise has gone for the Liandry's Torment. So I'm interested to see now if she goes towards a ooh, nice spear landing in onto Jinx, taking about half her health. I am interested to see if Elise now goes towards like a more standard item like a Rylai's, or if she goes for something like a Void Staff Death Cap offensive sort of style.
She is not last hitting correctly though, and I'm annoyed about that.
I have a lot of issues with how people are last hitting in these workshops, and I understand it's something that you have to practice, and it's a skill that's picked up over time. But like, play a custom game, learn to last hit. It will win you so many games. Great traps coming out from Jinx,
See
and
the
really good
knockdown coming
alt.
down. They managed to catch out a few people. However, Graves is here to answer. Kha'Zix trying to come in, but he gets frozen by the Sejuani ult. They're trying to chase, but they aren't quite able to. Meanwhile, on the bottom, we see a Mumu who drops to Lulu and Graves. Jinx getting chased down by Nidalee and Graves and goes down to the Nidalee.
It's very unfortunate. They all split off and they went in for a kill on Lulu rather than regrouping and saying, okay, we landed a really strong engage, but they're in behind us. We can't just keep chasing or we're going to lose our entire back line. And trading a Jinx for a Lulu and a whole ton of alts and summoners does not seem like a very good plan. Elise is busy pushing top lane here.
I wonder if she knows. Oh, yeah, she knows Chaser W. Okay. Because, yeah, she's maxing that, and she should be able to drop turrets pretty quickly.
For sure. And it's possible that's what she's trying to do here, is just turn into a split pusher. Mumu lands a bandage toss and is able to get in. She is definitely going to go down, and Lee Sin is finally able to return a kill and get back into this a little bit. Once Lee Sin gets Hydra, I'm expecting to see him be used as a dedicated split pushing force.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, they are trying to get in some damage onto this mid turret. Kha'Zix is here to defend, as is, looks like Jinx and Amumu are cycling back down.
not too much going on right now.
Yeah, it's pretty quiet.
Like, yeah, stuff's happening. It was cool.
I like how the most recent person to follow, their name on Twitch is PMS Chaser. Like,
Oh god.
why is that your Twitch name? I don't understand. Kha'Zix does find Lulu somewhat alone. Lulu is able to turn on and set up just enough time for them to get Nidalee in range. The Sejuani ult was definitely overkill. It's possible she just really wanted an assist. But either way, Lulu does get a kill out of it, and they're able to shut down Kha'Zix a little bit more.
What happened there too was Kha'Zix tried to go stealth, but Lulu managed to get her health picks onto him. So even though he was stealth, he was still revealed to the enemy team, and all he got was a slight speed boost from it. Following, we see Graves. He's actually fighting Jinx and Nami 1v2. He manages to pick up the kill on Nami, and because he has the red buff, he's able to chase down Jinx and get the kill onto her as well.
I'm interested to see. It looks like he's going towards a Phantom Dancer. I would expect him after Zeal to actually go towards a Last Whisper instead. Graves is generally treated as an AD caster, so you go like Bloodthirster, Zeal, Last Whisper, and then oftentimes towards like an Infinity Edge before you actually finish up attack speed items, because so much of his damage is front-loaded and the auto attacks are great, but you're usually interspersing them between the rest of your skills. Nidalee is down, lands a huge spear onto Lee Sin, and Graves is then able to turn that into a nice little kill for himself. Lulu ult comes through to keep him somewhat safe, but Amumu ult returns, and they're able to take that down. They're going to then chase down the Lulu for yet another kill. So that ends up going 2 for 1. Lee Sin drops, but then Lulu Graves goes down in response. Dragon is up in a minute and a half. I'm interested to see if either team has timers on that and is going to get some ward coverage there. In the meantime, Sejuani just constantly pushing in this top lane. Blue team is going to have to respond to that. Kha'Zix uses his ult to just barely get away there from the cocoon. Oh, it's possible the lag is returning. You might know better than me, Steven. Does Sejuani normally build a Liandry's?
Sejuani?
Yeah.
If she's the head, she can get away with it. Her AP ratios and damage is actually like really high. But if you're going to build the Liandry's, you'd want to build Sword Boots with it too.
Yeah, the last game we also saw Sejuani build a Liandry's, and as I said, it does a lot of damage, and as long as you're tanky enough to survive long enough for it to be useful, I like the idea. It just seems a little bit ballsy. I understand what you're saying with the Source Boots, but it's going to be hard to land a lot of the plays and ganks that you need to if you don't have Boots 3 or Boots 5.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing, is like Dominion people build Sejuani with the Sword Boots and hunting guys because you don't have to gank, you just constantly skirmish. So it's like, you're not chasing after like the Lee Sin who has 5 escapes. We see the Sejuani ult come in. Jinx, she follows up with her own ult. Lulu getting dropped really low, but Amumu was also low. They're chasing on to him. They managed to pick up the kill.
Amumu went way too deep there.
Nidalee, she's pushing top lane right now, so it's a 4v4, but Team Purple is really low. They probably can't quite clean this up. And with all the ults that they've expended right now, you see Sejuani ult is down. Not getting able to do anything, but Nami, she gets caught out. She quickly drops. And now Lee Sin, he goes in there, Kha'Zix, he jumps in, Lulu goes down, Graves getting dropped super low, getting chased down by Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix manages to pick up the kill, and he leaps away, gets away cleanly so far. Nidalee, however, she did come down to join the fight. She manages to pick up the kill on Lee Sin. She's chasing after Jinx right now. She may have the damage to take her down. We're going to see her. She chucks the spear, but it misses. Not quite able to get her. And Sejuani Nidalee is trying to find Kha'Zix, but Kha'Zix is recalling and not quite able to pick up the kill onto him.
Yeah, really, really good fight coming out there. My concern originally was that Amumu, he tried to dive in and get one of the enemy carries caught out, and in response, he just dove into 5 people. He didn't disengage when he realized that he was going to go in too far. He just kept chasing, and at that point, you've just turned your engage into a 1v5. Someone in game in the chat was mentioning that Liandry's as a final item on Sejuani is nice because it's a late game damage item. I agree with that. Sejuani needs to be a little bit more tanky. Maybe even I don't know where she'd fit it in her build besides maybe like a Spirit Visage, but some cooldown reduction on her would be pretty awesome because her ulti is so very powerful.
Yes.
Unfortunately, though, they have nerfed Visage now where it's only 10% rather than 20% CDR, and that makes me cry.
It was pretty OP.
It was completely broken on all levels of gameplay, but that's why I loved it.
See the Amumu Banish Toss, he tries to find a target but isn't quite able to hit. Jinx, she gets cut out by the Elise Cocoon, but she also roots Elise so that way there's no follow-up.
Lee Sin is turning into his nice little split push self now. He's going to take away the top turret before anyone's able to respond. They're sending the entire team up to try and stop him, though. So assuming he's able to escape this, I would expect to see blue team be able to push in something either mid or bot. It looks like they're trying to push up mid, but we'll see if anything actually comes of it. Dr. Game GD is now following. Thank you very much for the support. We greatly appreciate it. Unfortunately, we did not have an RP card to give away this week, but generally speaking, we give away an RP card every single Sunday as part of the stream. We will be continuing to do that as of next week. We should be able to pick some up for that. When is your reading week, Stephen? I think I've asked this before.
I think it's like February 17th or something like that.
Okay.
So yeah,
It's
am there.
possible. It's slightly possible we'll have our place by then for the housewarming.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. Because yeah, I really want to see her new place.
Cannot wait to move.
Jinx, she might come across the vision ward here, but you know, she's not going to check that brush. So Sejuani sees that Jinx warded over there. She knows Jinx's position. And something that I find a lot of people don't do in games is like they always forget that like these random small brushes, there might just be a vision ward in there or something that they could possibly bear.
And I'm still absolutely obsessed with early pink wards because they're essentially objectives at that point. There's something for you to defend, and there's very little risk to it. Flash comes out from Kha'Zix, I think a little bit prematurely, and ends up getting caught out by the Sejuani ult in response.
I'm surprised though, because he took her really low. He probably didn't need to do it if he's able to just melt her so quickly.
I would have saved the flash until I saw Sejuani start her ult.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a somewhat tricky thing to dodge with an ult. Or, sorry, dodge her ult with a flash because it is a relatively large hitbox.
Even Nami ult goes down, only picks up Lulu. No one else, however, got caught out by it. Lee Sin, he takes the spear, Amumu trying to get the banish toss on the Graves, but isn't quite able to connect with it. So Team Blue, they don't know right now that it's a 4v5 in their favor. Sejuani isn't there for the fight, and she also doesn't have her ultimate. They're not quite going to engage it yet. I think they're trying to wait on them.
So many sweepers, oh my lord. They just used 3 sweepers in the same bush.
Land. It's going after Elise, but it looks like he's not quite going to ult yet. It's probably going to come down sometime soon. They're all going on to Lulu. He gets caught out. We managed to see the ult go down onto Nidalee. However, the fight turns around. Kha'Zix goes down, as well as Amumu. Lots of damage going out from the Jinx rockets, but not quite enough. Lee Sin wasn't there for the fight, unfortunately.
That was very split focus. Lee Sin, as you mentioned, wasn't there, and then they focused in onto Lulu. Lulu is not a priority target.
No.
Also, Lulu is building Tear of the Goddess. I strongly disagree with that item. Tear of the Goddess is not a strong item on really any champion anymore. There are a couple champions who still build it, but overall Tear is just not considered strong. If I were Lulu, I'd be building like a Chalice if you want some mana regen. The magic resist is going to be useful in some way, and
Listen, at the fight for top lane, we see that he immediately cooked away Elise. However, he could have gotten a clear Q onto her, and she was really low that he could duel her. As we saw, he just killed her under a turret. What I'd like to see from Lee Sin next time is for him to start off with the Q onto Elise, then kick her away, and then do the follow-up Q damage onto her. Because it'll give him the execute damage, it kicks her away from the turret, so that way, when he connects with her the second time, he's away, he can avoid taking further turret damage. And it's a more clean kill that way, too.
agreed, and it's pretty.
Yeah, it makes everyone happy when they see that.
So we do see the Rylai's coming out from Elise, which is sort of what I expected, rather than going into the full burst build, which I don't think is worth it. Obviously, AP, it's great on her. and Magic Pen even more so. So I would expect to see a Void Staff as I guess you'd call it fourth item, seeing as there is boots in there. And then you could finally follow that up with like a Lich Bane or a tank item. I don't see a reason for Death Cap. You could go DFG if you want extra burst. You could go Lich Bane if you want extra like split push and dueling. Or you could go a tank item if you want to be an initiator or like in the middle of fights. I wouldn't mind seeing a Spirit Visage on her. It's only 10% CDR now, but it'd be pretty nice. Sejuani caught a little bit out, but she is very tanky. They're going to take... Oh, maybe not. Nami ult comes out, as does the Jinx rocket. So that's a lot of ults wasted for one target. Graves does have a Guardian Angel now as well, so assuming they avoid a sort of wombo combo coming out, and the only real ult left to do that would be an Amumu, I don't think Purple Team really needs to worry, even though technically, yeah, you lost a priority target. Dragon is up. Blue Team's going to take that away. Nidalee is trying to sneak down, but she's the only one there. So they're not going to be able to stop that by any means. So that will then respawn at 35-12. 35-12. Always worth it to keep an eye on jungle timers. Elise and Lee Sin are busy dueling up top. Takes away all of the little spiders. I would get the Q on kick. Oh, no, the kick isn't actually up on Lee Sin. Either way, they go essentially dead even, except that Lee Sin is going to have crazy, crazy lifesteal. So assuming he doesn't get caught out by this Lulu, if he is able to go maybe like go take white or something like that, he's going to be able to lifesteal right back up and be ready for another fight. Worth pointing out that using the Safeguard Iron Will on Lee Sin gives you a huge amount of lifesteal and spell vamp. So comboing that with your other skills lets you heal up an absolutely insane amount.
It's knowing to manage your passive along with the lifesteal from your Q or W rather is what's going to allow you to duel as Lee Sin and come out with a really strong fight.
Agreed.
He gets engaged on by Sejuani and Lulu. They both have a lot of slows, but Jinx is there for follow-up, and she's able to stop any further damage. However, Amumu, he's flashing away, he's caught out. But Lee Sin instead, he gets caught out, gets blasted by Graves. Amumu, we see the ult come down, followed up by the Nami ult and the Jinx ult, but it's not quite enough damage to take them down. And that's that fight.
Yeah, they have really bad positioning and decision-making, but relatively good skill shots. It's interesting to me that when they're landing their skills, they're landing them in a reasonably good position. They're hitting kind of who they need to be hitting, but they're just not making very good decisions about when to fight, when not to fight. And unfortunately, that's something you can only really learn with experience. I see some pings coming down onto Baron from Blue Team. I believe that's them not having vision on it and wanting to make sure that Purple Team can't take it away. Lee Sin is out bot again. There's a lot of people down there. Jinx trying to get through the jungle while both Elise and Nidalee come in onto her. She's able to burn her flash and get out of the way, but that's some very important cooldowns down on her. 0 summoner skills left on Jinx. I like seeing Graves played again. I haven't seen him in a long time.
I know, I'm noticing lately he's actually been a fairly decent pick.
He's a great pick right now, and I think it's just going to take a while for people to really understand how he works with teams and start to fit him into their team comps again.
Amumu, he does get caught out. He ults, but not quite able to stop them all from taking him down. We see the Nami ult that also comes down, but doesn't really do much.
There's a lot of wasted ults coming out.
Not freeze anyone there. Nidalee falls up, not going to be able to get the damage down, take down Nami, but Graves' ultimate is what finishes her off finally. Lee Sin still trying to split push top lane, despite the fact that purple team is pushing the inhibitor.
Unfortunately, there's no way for him to win that team fight, so he's trying to at least take something in the meantime.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, Nami and Amumu are both just sort of getting out of position and then just sort of panic alting, where they're saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna die, better alt," and
Yeah, that's not the case. Like Nami's ultimate could have been used a bit better earlier instead of just kind of like ulting to for the sake of ulting.
yeah.
And at least she did go back and she was able to stop Lee Sin from really doing any damage to that top turret.
The rare one. Packets don't allow you to get unlimited money. That's not how packets work. Also, this is a League of Legends stream. If you want to know about Conquer Online, go look in the forums. Alright, so we see both teams sort of air-ramming it up now. This is very, very common in solo queue where they're like, okay, it's post 20, 25 minutes, let's just all go mid. And while that's all well and good, why would you do that as blue team right now? You're very
Yeah,
far down in gold. You're about 10k down. You're behind 3 turrets and about
15 kills.
sorry?
15 kills.
Yeah, 15 kills. So you kind of need to find a different way to make plays, whether that's making picks in the jungle by having really strong warding, which they don't have, whether it's sneaking objectives, which they can't do because Purple Team has strong warding, or whether it's split pushing, which Lee Sin has done to some success, but his team hasn't taken advantage of it. So they need to really communicate with each other and say, okay, we're behind. We need to start playing more safely, more passively, and work on how they're going to get back into the game. And that's a slow burn process. It's not a we won one team fight, we now win the game. It's a little too early for that, and it's a little too late for that. They're too far behind to do it, and it's too early in the game for one team fight to really be that big of a deal. Okay, so Purple Team is going to take away a completely uncontested Baron here, and they have really, really good ward coverage to set that up. So good job on them to set that apart, know exactly where. Ooh.
Oh, the Sejuani ult, that just encountered both Jinx and Nami. Nami taking a lot of damage, but goes down a little bit after. We see Lee Sin, he's right in the middle of that fight. He's not going to go down yet. Kha'Zix, he leaps on the Graves, dancing around him right now. He manages to pop his Guardian Angel, but Kha'Zix's life is the price for that. And Amumu is the last target right now, other than Jinx remaining, and he also goes down.
So that's an ace
Finally,
over to
Jinx
Purple
goes
Team.
down.
Ace for nothing. That's essentially game right there. They have the possibility to end. They have about 30 seconds on the main target. Okay, they did surrender. Even if not, they could have ended if they just tanked up the base and ended. So good game. A lot of improvements to make, but a lot of promise as well. I'll have Steven go over some of the final item builds, and then we'll work on wrapping things up here. So hit it, Steven.
Alrighty, I am waiting for it to load. There we go. Okay, so Nami's build looks fairly standard. We see the support start off with the boots, got the Sightstone as well as the Talisman of Ascension, which is probably the most OP support item right now. We see her, she bought the Chalice. I think she's trying to build that into Mikhail's Crucible. The Mikhail's Crucible would have helped get a target out of a Polymorph or a Sejuani Ultimate or an Elise Cocoon. So it's a strong support item overall. I find usually after you complete the Sightstone, you would get Mikhail's or something. Jinx, fairly standard Jinx build, got the boots, Bloodthirster, then Static Shiv. No surprises there. Kha'Zix, same deal, standard build. We saw him, he started off with the Hydra, then he finished Last Whisper, which was a smart choice because Sejuani was building a lot of armor. Nidalee, she was getting into the Zhonya's too. She had a Seeker's Armor. So he was the most relevant damage target threat on that team, and I think he built appropriately for what he was doing. Lee Sin, he built fairly tanky. It took him a while to go down in team fights, which was good, but I saw him, he went right into the middle of team fights rather than peeling for his carry. So like early game Lee Sin, he's really damage oriented, he's got really high base damages, he can get the kills and stuff, but late game he has to transition into that kind of a peel role. And I felt like he wasn't really peeling for Jinx as well as he could have been. And Amumu standard, Amumu builds, we see the the Spirit of the Ancient Golem, I really like that item, as well as Sunfire Cape. Um, he wasn't quite finishing boots yet. It looks like he was building towards maybe Aurelia's Crystal Scepter after. I would have built maybe Merc Tread sooner just because of how much CC the enemy team had in between the Sejuani ult and slows, as well as the Lulu CC. But yeah, so that was overall very solid builds for Team Blue. Team Purple, I don't know what's up with that tier. It's just kind of there being a tier. I don't know, but she was
Yeah,
really
the
fed,
tier
so
was not
she
a
got
good
it.
item.
But otherwise, it looks fine. Uh, Nidalee, fairly standard Nidalee build. Although I think with Nidalee, I would like to see a Chalice on her or a Athene's on Holy Grail. But Nidalee benefits quite a bit from having mana regen as well as cooldown reduction, so she can keep chucking those spears. She can keep using her traps to grant vision on the map. Um, because that's kind of her role. And I feel like if she's needing the Zanyas, she's probably positioning herself kind of poorly, as well as the Ninja Tabi. Like I get that it was probably for like the early laning against Kha'Zix, but I think an Athene's would have been beneficial for her. At least we see she built the Leandries as well as Sword Boots, which is good. See the Riley's Crystal Scepter as well to get max damage from Riley's, rather Leandries. Overall, solid build for Middle East, I suppose. I'm glad she didn't build a death cap because we went in detail about how her AP ratios are actually quite terrible. Sejuani, lots of damage coming out from her. She had a Haunting Gaze at first, but it looks like she sold it and instead decided to buy an Abyssal Scepter. I don't think I really agree with that, just because the Abyssal Scepter gives you a magic resistance, and the only magic damage on the enemy team is going to be coming from Mumu and Nami. And even though your own team has a lot of magic damage dealers on it, I feel like it's not quite going to accomplish what she was thinking it was going to. And then Graves, he got super fed. He built exactly what he should for how fed he was, and I'm really impressed with what he was building. But yeah.
Now, we did have the concern that Jinx was not farming well, nor was Elise. I didn't
No.
notice. I didn't notice too much of the actual laning and how they were CSing on the other characters. The CS levels across the board, except for Graves and Lee Sin, are surprisingly low. But every time I looked at Jinx, she was like under tower, and she was just sort of auto attacking. She wasn't just last hitting. And same with Elise, where it was just missing a lot of last hits.
Well, so Solas Pizza brought up that she bought the tier because of mana issues on Lulu, and she'd rather not have to wait for it. I think that had you built a Chalice into a Mikhail's Crucible instead, it would have been more beneficial because you could have gotten Braves out of any of Mumu ults or out of a Nami slow from her tidal wave. And it also would help out your mana issues. Lulu has enough of a mana pool that you can go through all of her spells in team fights like once and probably still have enough for several more spells after. And the Chalice is also going to help keep your mana pool high so that way you don't have to worry about running into and not being able to save targets.
Yeah, my main concern was you could have just built an Athene's. You could have built it into a Crucible. You could have built it into whatever you wanted, really. And that Chalice would have made you a little bit more tanky as well. Again, it's not so much that the tier could not work. It's that there are much better mana regen items.
Yeah, that's my thought too.
Anyways, thank you guys for joining the workshop today. Apologize for the late start and the relative small number of games, but there was a lot of server issues, so it is what it is. We will continue on with our workshops every Sunday. We will have more RP cards to give away as of next weekend. We're doing a $10 RP card every single workshop, so hopefully you guys will show up for that and keep advertising the stream. It's always nice to see you guys here. I am streaming all day tomorrow. We're going to be doing solo queue. I got to grind back to Diamond on my main account. And so, yeah, it'll be Monday and Wednesday are my long streams. I do some bonus evening streams, but they're not scheduled anymore. I no longer want to hold myself to streaming every single day.